I think the 2020 MacBook Air with an M1 chip is the absolute best all-around Mac Apple's ever made, and I want to explain to you today why. Hi everybody, welcome back to A Better Computer. My name is Matt, and I wanted to do a quick thought experiment to kick off today's video. So I thought about this recently and I was like, okay, I'm using a MacBook Air right now, and let's pretend Apple came to me and said, hey, we know you're using a MacBook Air, you're using an entry-level model. We're gonna give you, because we wanna see it on your YouTube channel, we wanna see you use it and show it off and be happy with it. We're gonna give you any other Mac that exists. Which one do you want? We'll take your MacBook Air and you can get anything in return. And I was like, okay, let's think about this. Well, there's laptop versus desktop, right? And I don't really want a desktop. I don't want to be tied down. I like being able to move around. I like being able to dock it and then use it as a desktop when I want and being able to be portable when I want. I don't really need that. And then if I wanted to get more power, again, I don't really think I need that. Yes, the Mac Pro can go way beyond what the MacBook Air can do, but I don't feel constrained by what I can do on it. We'll talk about that later. So I don't really need that. So I'm gonna say no to the desktops. All the desktops are just totally out of the picture. So what about laptops? What are the other laptops Apple makes? So I could go with the 13-inch MacBook Pro, also with an M1 chip. I could go with the 16-inch MacBook Pro with an Intel chip. And actually that's really it. Those are the options. The MacBook with an Intel chip, I definitely could get more performance out of that, especially if I really maxed it out. And again, in this dream scenario, money's no object. It's exactly the same to me no matter what. I could max it out. I don't want that computer. Number one, I don't want a 16-inch screen. That's just too big for me. But number two, I don't want an Intel computer anymore. And this isn't necessarily anything against Intel. It's just, I don't think this is the time where I'd want to buy into the platform that Apple is leaving, right? I don't think that that's the platform I want to be on right now. I want to be on the new thing, especially with a transition that's gone as smoothly as the M1 transition has gone for Apple. I don't know if I could use an Intel chip. Monterey is coming out, macOS Monterey is coming out in a couple months most likely, and it already has features that are exclusive to Apple Silicon Macs, and I wouldn't get that in the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So that one's out, which just leaves the two M1 laptops, the MacBook Pro 13 versus my MacBook Air 13. And here's where it gets weird again, is that they're basically the same computer. They're super, super similar in this way because the M1 chip is exactly the same. So which one would I get? Do I want to get the Pro? The Pro is better, right? Like I only got the Air because it was cheaper. I don't know if that's true, because what do I get with the MacBook Pro version of this device? I get a touch bar, which I've never owned on a Mac and I don't really care about. I'm totally happy with the function keys, so that's not a thing for me. I get slightly more battery life, but I get so much battery life on the MacBook Air that I don't really need any more. I go days without charging this thing. It's totally fine. So I don't really care about that. It gets fans, but I don't really get the MacBook Air to thermal throttle in any real way, so I don't really care about the fans. And all of this comes in a package that's a little thicker overall. So I'd be getting a thicker device that's less portable, less invisible when I throw it in my backpack. So I think I'm actually happier with Apple's entry-level MacBook Air, their cheapest laptop, than any other Mac they make. And that's weird to me, but I think that speaks to how well the last 7 months with this computer have gone for me. Since January, I've edited like 100 videos on this machine. It's done incredible work the entire way through. I shoot 1080p footage for stuff like this out of my camera. I do 4K video or screen recordings from ScreenFlow and edit those. 4K, 1080p, it all works great. I don't really have any problems there. I've never had issues with overheating. I've never had issues with thermal throttling. It just works, and it has no fan. It runs totally silently. It's great. I'm really, really impressed with the performance of this. I literally cannot throw anything at it that it can't do. And so the closest point of comparison I have in terms of a modern Mac to like figure out how like fast this is for me is a 2015 MacBook Pro, the maxed out model. So this is what I have for work. It's what my day job provides for me, which is frankly incredible. Like it's really, really great that I have this, but it is a 6-year-old computer. But at the time it was the maxed out model you could get. It was the best MacBook Pro money could buy. And it was probably $3,000 to $4,000. and it still runs pretty darn well. Like, I can do all of my work on it and it works pretty darn great. The battery's going a little bit, but like in terms of raw performance, it's pretty good. But the M1 MacBook Air, which is a $1,000 computer, I did get the $1,300 model by upgrading the RAM to 16 gigs and the storage up to 512. But still, it's like a third of the price that the MacBook Pro cost a few years previous. It's not only comparable, it's faster in every single thing I do with it. It's faster at video editing, it's faster at photo processing, it's faster at software updates. Like, it's faster in every single regard. And not by a little bit, but like by a huge margin. And it just feels faster. So I don't have exact benchmarks to show you, but I can say that every single thing I do on it feels faster than it does doing the same things on the 2015 Intel MacBook Pro. So I get it, there's 5 years between these computers. Obviously newer computers are gonna be faster, but I don't think it's really normal for a completely maxed out device to be left in the dust by a lower end line of computers and the lowest end version of it. I don't even have the 8-core GPU model of the MacBook Air. I have the 7-core model, right? Like, I'm really using basically the slowest M1 Mac you can own. No fans, no 8th core for the GPU, and it's still incredibly fast. And so the one downfall that I was worried about that this device would have, considering I knew going in it was going to be really performant because the M1 was getting lots of buzz. I knew it was going to be thin and light because the MacBook Air is just thin and light and it's using the exact same form factor as before. The one thing that could make this whole thing fall apart is the silicon transition. We're transitioning from Intel to Apple Silicon. How's that going to go? Are apps not going to work? Are the emulation layers going to be not performant, and your apps that haven't been converted, they're going to run super slow? In my experience, which is just my experience, I know other people are going to have different experiences. In my experience, it is a complete non-issue for me. Around the time I got it back in January, some apps were still doing updates to like add Apple Silicon support, native Apple Silicon support. But frankly, I can't really tell the difference. A lot of the high-end apps were already converted right away, and so that was not an issue. But like, especially on normal apps, like even web browsers, things like your password manager, things like just screenshot apps, these all work totally fine in emulation. I have yet to find an app that straight up doesn't work. I actually take that back. There is one app, some of the Rogue Amoeba apps don't work, but I think that's a Monterey issue. That's not even a Apple Silicon issue. So I take that back. That's not even a thing. That's just me running a beta on my main computer, which is stupid. But if you're seeing this video, it's still exporting video, so that's good. But yeah, the Apple Silicon transition has been absolutely smooth for me. I have not run into issues with my apps not running. I haven't run into issues with apps that haven't been updated or have not been updated in years that developers just moved on. I've had no issues with those not working it either. So my apps run fast, even if they're in emulation. I don't even check to see if apps are being emulated anymore. It just works, and it's pretty magical. I think Adobe is probably the only area where things are a little fuzzy. Maybe they're not as performant. Some things maybe don't work as well. But Photoshop and Lightroom, which are the only Adobe apps I really use, have been converted and they work great. I use Audition occasionally to process some audio files, and I don't think that's been updated. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong down here. I don't have room with this microphone. I'll put it somewhere. But I don't think that's been updated, and I use it all the time, and it's, again, fine. So this transition from Intel to Apple Silicon, in my experience, has been completely transparent, and everything seems faster than before. Everything seems reliable, just as reliable as it was before. It's kind of a miracle that Apple's been able to pull this off. So yeah, this was not a review of the MacBook Air. This was just me. I was kind of just using my MacBook Air and just thinking about how incredible the experience had been since I got it. I had no complaints. I had that thought experiment about like, is there literally no other Mac I would like to have in the entire world? And yeah, I don't think there is. And I just wanted to make a video about it. There are some things I wish this computer had. I wish it had a more modern form factor. I wish it was a little thinner, more like the 12-inch MacBook that they discontinued a year or two ago. I wish it had a touchscreen. I wish it had smaller bezels. I wish it was kind of more in line with the new iMac style that they released with the multicolors and kind of the sharper corners. I think that'd be really cool. Rumors are we're getting that either later this year or next year. So I'm excited for that. But right now, I am totally happy with this computer, and I really find it incredible that this is the lowest end computer Apple makes. And I can recommend it to like literally anyone, unless you absolutely need more than 16 gigabytes of RAM or more ports. I also don't like the port situation necessarily. There's only 2 Thunderbolt ports. And when I have it plugged into power and my display at the same time, that's it. There's no ports or anything else, so I need to invest in a dock or something, but I'm just kind of powering through right now. But yeah, really great computer. I highly, highly recommend it. Maybe we're on the verge of new one, so maybe now isn't the perfect time to buy one, but I really love this computer. I wanted to make a slightly different video today to just kind of, what's the opposite of a rant? To just rave about this device and kind of tell you guys about it if you haven't jumped in on the Apple Silicon train yet. So that is it for me today. If you like this video at all, I'd love it if you hit the like button down there. And I'd love to hear if you could be given any Mac in the world right now, which one would you take and why? I'd love to hear that in the comments. I'll try to respond to as many of those as I can. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.